It looks like Mississippi State week. Not that exciting. Hold on, because there might be somebody in Athens that you really, really, really need to pay attention to, because he might be coming with a wrecking ball next. Locked on Bulldogs.
You are Locked on Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked on Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. I am Daniel. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, our friends over at FanDuel, FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. More on them in a moment. Thanks so much for being here on this Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for making us your first listen on this Wednesday or Thursday or whenever you found this episode. Thanks for being an everydayer. You know, we're here every day. There was an episode on Saturday night. There was an episode on Monday, Tuesday. Now there's one on Wednesday. Hey, spoiler alert, there's going to be one on Thursday. Then there's going to be one on Friday. And then there's going to be another one on Saturday night. So you're here every day. We're here every day. And we love that. Love interacting with you on this podcast. As Clint said, yeah, we're talking about the Mississippi State game. What are we looking for this weekend? And Mississippi State's real bad. And Georgia's going to beat the crap out of them. Georgia's just going to beat the bloody fool out of Mississippi State. They're going to do it, Clint. We're not even going to sit here and speculate. We don't even need to hope for it.
Okay.
It's going to happen. Georgia's going to crush Mississippi State this weekend. And so you might be thinking, well, that doesn't make for a very fun atmosphere, doesn't make for a very fun. Well, I mean, first of all, let the record show I'll be in Athens on Saturday.
Oh,
Kirby Smart ain't gonna be complaining about me. I promise you that. He's not going to be complaining about what's coming from my section. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a great time to be in Athens. And it's going to be great to see the Dogs win because we don't have success fatigue. We're not entitled fans, Clint. We enjoy watching our team bludgeon other teams. We enjoy watching our team continue to be dominant. That's fun for us. We've waited for this for virtually our entire fan lives. And so now that it's here, we're not going to take it for granted. We're going to appreciate it. But that's not the only big news. The game on Saturday is not the only big news because as you've probably seen from clicking on this episode and reading the title, there's going to be a big 5-star prospect in Athens on Saturday. Clint, Elijah Griffin from Old Savannah Christian is coming on down to Athens town. He's the number 1 rated defensive lineman in the class of 2025. He's top 10 overall player in the class of 2025. I mean, you talk to some people, he might be the best daggum player in the entire class. This guy is a monster on the interior of the defensive line. He's going to be in Athens. He's been crystal balled a lot to Georgia. This is a big time visit for him, for Kirby Smart, for Trey Scott, for this entire coaching staff. He will be a significant focus of the weekend. Clint, let's talk about this guy, Elijah Griffin, and why I'm just going to lead out with this might be the most important commit of the 2025 class.
He said it. I see nothing wrong with it. And here's why. I'm going to do 2 things for you. I'm going to give you who he is right now, today. And today, Daniel, by the way, is a young man who has not graduated high school. Okay?
No.
Like, he hasn't graduated high school. That's where we're at. This is where he is as his performance is. 6'5", 285, running the 40-yard dash in 5'1", sub 5'1 category. And you might be saying to yourself, well, that's not elite. That's not the best in the world. 34.5-inch vertical. I just want to tell you, with that size speed combo, he is better than, I'm going to list the NFL Combine. For defensive linemen.
But he's a rising high school senior.
I understand that.
That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Leonard Taylor, Miami, 5'1" in the 40, 6'3", 303. Florida State, McKinley Jenkins, Texas A&M, 5.2 in the 40. Carter, Duke, 5. Sweat, Texas, 5'3". Like, what I'm here to tell you, and the Verts, what I'm here to tell you is this man is a rising senior in high school, not a rising senior. He's not going to the Reese Bowl for Senior Bowl in Mobile. What I'm telling you is size speed combo of NFL players today, and he's 18 years old coming in. This man is an absolute havoc machine. The only knock on him is his competition is not the elite level from where he's at, but it doesn't matter. You play who's in front of you, and he is demolishing people. His traits and his motor function and what he is able to do is just absolute aggression, absolute physicality. And he's going to be a guy, and I'm going to liken him to a name that I just started looking at this back again because I care about him as a person, not the NFL, but I care about him as a person. Trayvon Walker, Daniel, was he a good player for Georgia?
He's pretty good player, I guess.
He has 10 sacks last year in the NFL, 5 sacks this year.
I heard he was going to be a bust.
I heard he was going to be a bust. Double digits.
He's going to be a bust. Yeah.
2 already halfway to double digits without a quarter of the games being played so far in the NFL. This is him, part 2. Right here, a disruptive force that can play inside 3 technique. He can shove down and pass rushes. He can get on the edge on a tackle. This is the most important player. And if I look, Justice Terry, come on too. Like we'll take you. No harm, no foul. Flirting over with USC, I got no problem with that. But this is the most important player in the entire class because you're seeing it on the defensive side. We're seeing right now, Ingram Dawkins is doing a great job. I love Ingram Dawkins. He's doing a great job for the Dogs. Michael Williams is an edge guy who's got a lean to him, and a couple other guy, Jalen Walker. I need a guy, a 3-tech, an end who can kick down. I need a guy who can go over the tackle and just be an absolute force in every play. First down, run play, second down, screen game, third down, pass rush. Elijah Griffin is that dude, Daniel.
Yeah. And you don't know 6'5", 285, Clint. There's room there. This guy may end up a D tackle. This guy may end up going all the way inside, and he may end up being, like a Jalen Carter type body type before all is said and done. He might end up being more on the end. Either way, this is it's the most important player in the class. And listen, we're big fans of Zayden Walker, right? Are we not big fans of Zayden Walker?
This man, again, I live and die for inside linebackers. Big fan.
Isaiah Gibson. We're big fans. Georgia's already got some big elite level recruits on the defensive side of the ball, but this guy provides something, offers something, not only that's not represented already in this class, but it's not been represented on Georgia's team now for the last couple of years. And I think you're seeing it. You see the difference. You see the difference when you have guys like Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, when you have guys like Jalen Carter versus when you don't have those guys. There's nothing wrong with Nazir Stackhouse. There's nothing wrong with Warren Brinson. There's nothing wrong with Ty Ingram Dawkins. These are good players. And if you're Georgia, you need these type of players. But they're not superstar anchors up front that are going to disrupt a game. You mentioned some of those guys that you're reading off in the NFL Combine, like Sweat from Tennessee or from Texas. That's the type of guy that you need. You need a guy who's just going to be a difference maker in there. And then you need to surround him with a bunch of really good players. And right now, Georgia has a bunch of really good players. I compare it to the wide receiver position. Georgia has a bunch of really good players. By the way, in the 2025 class, there might be a difference maker at wide receiver, and his name might be Talon Taylor. And so we might be solving both of these problems You need a guy that is an elite level guy. And I think potentially you have the opportunity to have that in Elijah Griffin. We're going to be back. We're going to talk more about this kid, what he might bring to Athens, what the prospects are, if we think he's going to commit to the Dogs. Might we see a commit this weekend? Might we see him, make his preferences known this weekend? All that and more we'll talk about right after these.
But first, we need to talk about FanDuel. FanDuel's fantastic. They're the best in the game. The official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcasts, everywhere. And right now, get on over there. And every single thing that we're going to do locks-wise tomorrow, come on back, put it on, get over in FanDuel. It's the official sportsbook that we trust solely and exclusively. And right now, Georgia line against Mississippi State. Daniel, this is crazy. Is it not? 32.5 is that line.
It's a lot.
Under 53.
Am I going to have to bet on Mississippi State just to make a little money?
Don't do that. 30 is our limit. 32.5 right now.
No, I'm saying I might have to take the other side. I may have to just enjoy a blowout and make money.
There you go. We get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view play-by-play, and so much more with the same page that you place your bets over on FanDuel. You get it started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. He's going to be enjoying himself, making some money in Athens as we host Elijah Griffin. This reminds me, Daniel, this class, and we talked about some guys that are currently in Athens making dividends, play so far, get into there. We've seen some transfer portal, some transfer news hit. We've shortened that window from 45 days to 30 days on both end. We need to get rid of one of the transfer portal times, have one open transfer portal, and that is it. We need to do that, but I digress. I'm not higher ups.
Commissioner Clint over here just making things happen. Somebody hire the man.
Bro,
He's got good ideas.
I just got the ideas. Look, in 6th grade, I captained the kickball team. In 8th grade, I was the school president. And then all my ideas dried up. That was it. They were done.
6th grade captain of the kickball team. He got that on his resume. Somebody get him a LinkedIn profile.
I was done after that. People love the banter. Daniel, we need to talk more about how this fits in. You talked about the class shaping up so far. Zayden Walker, I think, prototypical inside linebacker. I likened him to Willis at Ole Miss, Patrick Willis back in the day. Isaiah Gibson, another 5-star. He is more the prototypical end, 6'4", 245. We have dudes on the defensive side. We add him. Now we have 3 guys, 2 up front, 1 in the middle, to partner with a KJ Bolden and Ellis Robinson in the back end that we have this class. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really important because if you look at how this class is shaping up, we have a couple of difference makers on offensive side of the ball. You talked about Taylor, as well as Ryan Montgomery, as well as Williams, tight end, who looks 6'7", 235. Looks like I just can't help the Washington comparison.
We need him.
There. He's not 285.
We need him. We need that guy in Athens today.
Today. Yeah. Kirby Smart, really quick. I know we're talking about Elijah Griffin. Kirby Smart did make comments about Lawson Lucky being the alpha and had got nastiness to him. And it will change.
When Lawson Lucky speaks to the media, I think you see what's up. I think you know what's up. Like you see it.
I know what's up. Daniel knows what's up.
If there's a guy in the room that's got it in him to be wide receiver 1, it's not a wide receiver.
Not a wide receiver.
That's all.
And that's fine with me because
it's fine with me.
Because last year we didn't have a wide receiver be our best wide receiver.
It's fine.
We're fine.
It's all fine.
We're fine. But if you look at this class and you look at the defensive side of the ball, we need guys back up. I think the way in which Kirby Smart has always wanted to build draft classes, always want to attack guys in the SEC is in the trenches. And then a second level, third level, we see him getting safeties and then parsing that through with a couple of guys on the cornerback position. But I think, Daniel, the difference makers on offense, that way difference maker on the defensive side of the ball, I do think you're right. Taylor and Montgomery are going to be dudes. Puglisi not taking anything. I think actually Puglisi, if you want to talk about Carson Beck, not like you guys are all upset that Carson Beck is more cerebral and kind of chill. Welcome to Puglisi. Jaden Rashad is not your dude. I'm just letting you know, if you don't like that about Carson Beck, Puglisi is, because he's a dude that's going to get in somebody's face. But Elijah Griffin is going to be somebody, if he commits and if he's in Athens, slots right in immediately and could be a guy that plays very quickly. And the reason why is not only the skill and the size, it's the technique. Daniel, if you look at his game film and then you look at what the scouts are talking about, the number one thing they talk about, and I say this every single time I talk about defensive linemen, this is the most important trait to me. Nothing else matters to me because I look at guys that have speed, that have size, that can bully people, but they don't have hands. Daniel, as a defensive lineman, DB, you can run around, you could skirt over guys. If you're coming on a screen, get under a block, piece of cake. Defensive line, you have to have great hand work to be able to work in the SEC against these guys who are just as big, just as fast, just as nasty as you. And if you look at his game film and you look at what the scouts talk about, they rave about his clinical technician ability with his hands, which that, again, Kirby Smart doesn't like playing people early unless you have that dog in you, you have that grit. So the two biggest things besides his size is hand placement, technique, and then raves about his high energy. The guy just doesn't know quit. Those are the two things Kirby Smart's looking for in a defensive lineman, Daniel, right there. I just named them. That's why Ingram Dawkins, that's why Devontae Wyatt, you listed those guys who are that high energy, high motor technician. But then you combine that with the native natural style and technique and talent of DNA, and you have Elijah Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, the step up in competition is going to make it difficult for him very early on. Like when he gets there, if he's an early enrollee, which he likely would be if he were to commit to Georgia, when he gets to campus, it would be an issue early on because he's going to be going up against guys that are just way more physically imposing than anybody that he is used to seeing. But I do think once he gets past that initial shock, the talent's going to take over, Clint. It's like, there's just at some point you're more physically gifted. It's as if you were like a 6'11" basketball player with a 40-inch vertical. Like at some point you just jump over the guy that's in front of you. You understand? I'm describing a hypothetical basketball player right now. It's not like that's one of the freshmen on Mike White's roster right now. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to transition to basketball talk.
I'm
we're
fine
going
if
to
you
the
be
dance.
dancing.
We're going to the dance 100%. No, at some point, physical talent is going to take over. This is a guy that would contribute next year in Athens. Now, I'm not saying he would be an anchor of the defensive line or anything like Jalen Carter-esque or any of those guys that I mentioned. You got to give him a year or two to mature into that. But you're going to see him on the field. You're going to see him contribute early on next year. And that's only going to prove, greater dividends as we move forward in the years to come with him. Incredibly important recruit. I think there's a chance we could see him commit this weekend. I think he's all dog, though. Like, I think no matter what happens this weekend, I think he's going to be in Athens. Elijah Griffin, definitely a name to keep an eye out for. If I see him this weekend, Clint, I'll put in a good word for us.
Put in a good word. Let the man know that we'll be rooting for him. USC, Miami, Alabama, Arkansas, a list of contenders. I think USC is the biggest one here, just like with Justice Terry, to look out for. But I think if you see the
maybe he goes the route of Bear Alexander.
My man out here talking about basketball. My man taking shots at underdeveloped defensive linemen who can't find a home. Don't pull that. We're going to come back after this, talk about one more thing as we're heading out that's important to Georgia. But first, these. And these are, in fact, game time. I don't know if you understand. Daniel did when he got the tickets to go into Athens this weekend. He didn't go ahead and try to search 50 different websites. He said, all I got to do is go to gametime.co or the Gametime app, looked in there. He probably perused through, cycled through and said, here's my filters. Here's what I want. He went ahead and clicked that toggle button to see the all-in pricing.
All-in pricing. Down, you just got to get all-in pricing.
He said, oh, I can do that. I know my budget.
Math is hard. I'm not trying to math when I'm buying tickets. You understand?
I want to get to the game. No, I don't want to
just show me the actual price. That's what you get on Gametime.
Well, that's what he's doing right now. Gametime has a feature that makes it available for you to see that all-in pricing It has the ability to look from your seats, get panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if they are not the lowest price, which they are. I guarantee you. Gametime.co in the app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime.
Clint, sometimes recording a Georgia football and basketball podcast is fun.
It's a lot of fun much of the time, Daniel.
Much of the time, it's a great time. It's a great way to earn a little bit of a living. We appreciate all of you who are Georgia fans that keep this podcast afloat, subscribing on YouTube, subscribing to the audio, all that stuff. And then there are times when you have to talk about Colby Young. Those times are significantly less fun because
it's two ends of the spectrum.
Two things true at the same time. We say it. I mean, just broken record. We're just going to broken record the crap out of this thing.
We're going to
two things true. Thing number one.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know all of the things that transpired because investigations into criminal matters have not yet taken place.
And you and I are not investigative detectives. That's not our job.
Nor are we hiding in the bushes outside of a strip club trying to get a gotcha journalism moment. That's not who we are.
Nope.
And so we don't know all of the things that happened. We know that Colby Young was arrested. We know what he was charged with.
That's known.
We know that the thing he was charged with is horrifying. We don't know how the facts will present themselves. And this is not a Georgia fan, like, cover up, don't care, blah, blah, blah. We just don't know.
We don't know.
So here are the things that we do know.
Okay.
Number one, Clint, there are a lot of people at the University of Georgia who are doing everything the way that they ought to be doing it.
Yes.
And walking inside all of the lines and acting as model citizens in the community and are shining representatives of the University of Georgia. And they must be furious about what's happening with a handful of other people.
You hear it. Malachi Starks has come out and said, we try. We have people coming and speak. We have people coming and talk. That we're praying. We're doing everything we can. But you hear it. They're frustrated.
It's got to be frustrating if you are them. If you are a person who wants clicks, you should write a story titled "Kirby Smart has lost control of the University of Georgia football program." And then you can be a clown and get a lot of clicks. Because nothing could be farther from the truth. That is an asinine thing to say. Thing number two, Clint, though, and then I'll let you respond to both these things. Thing number two, that is also true, is that this is getting really old and is really embarrassing for Georgia fans. Like, we should be talking about the fact that Tennessee had a chance to host a night game against Alabama, and they pissed it away against Arkansas. And now they've got a 3:30 slot against Alabama instead of a night game at Neyland in their biggest game of the year.
Oh, no.
And they just soiled the bed.
Oh, no.
And couldn't get it done. That's what we should be talking about. But instead, we're talking about crap like this. We're talking about speeding tickets. We're talking about whatever. It's embarrassing as a Georgia fan. It's embarrassing as a Georgia alumnus. In my case, like, it's ridiculous that we're still talking about this stuff. People are going to do things, and stuff happens at every college campus. But Georgia fans, don't be one of those people. Like, it is disproportionate. It is disproportionate. Okay, yeah. Don't act like it's not disproportionate, and it's embarrassing. Okay, so Kirby Smart has not lost control of this program. You're being absurd if you say something like that. And it's embarrassing. And we don't know everything that happened in this particular instance. All of those things can be true, Clint.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I'm going to speak first to college football fan by and large. If you're looking at Georgia, you're saying there's a culture problem. Kirby's out of control. All that crud. Here's all I'm saying. Are there traffic violations in Athens? Yes. Is Athens PD known for doing this across the board to every single student that has ever one time stepped foot on campus and non-students in Athens? Yes. Do the players on Georgia need to understand there is a giant spotlight from Athens PD on every single thing, and that's not including what happened with Colby Young and his significant other. That those details will emerge. But guess what, Colby? You don't get the slack anymore. Like, you have used up all the slack. In other situations, if this happened at Michigan State and this was a first-time thing, you could listen to it, you could hear it, you can do it, you can wait. The patience is gone. And guys just don't understand that. You can say in each individual case, one by one, taken in isolation, be like, let's wait, let's check it out. Those days are gone, and it needs to be gone. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be seen. That needs to be understood. And measures are being taken to do that. However, so what I want to say is, don't dogpile on Georgia and Colby, because just like SMU, just like Miami, just like USC, I could name these programs that looked from the outside at one point to be shining examples. And then things were unearthed after the fact that just absolutely downward spiraled the reputation of everybody involved. If you are saying Kirby Smart's out of control, I just beg you, and you don't think this is happening other places. Two things true. Colby Young, I, for one, would have no problem with him. I think he's going to sit this game. I think he's going to sit maybe another game. If Kirby Smart came out today and said he's off the team, I wouldn't be upset about that. Truth be told, I'd be upset because he's a player that needs help. But something needs to be done. Let's not say out of control. They are addressing it. Out of control is not addressing it, defending it. Kirby's not defending it, and he is addressing it. It's going to be worked on. It's going to be a common problem that we see for a long time within college athletics that needs help, and we're getting it, and it needs to be done. Colby, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on the stance of I think you need to be dismissed from the team, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah. Yep.
Don't worry about the mic. Yeah, we're coming. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll see.
That's what I mean.
Like, he's still on the team right now as of the time of this recording. I don't expect we're going to see anything happen until everything emerges. Like, if you listen to what Colby Young's lawyers are saying, which of course Colby Young's lawyers are saying this, whatever, but like, something has to be true.
Correct.
So something happened. And according to that, there's absolutely no reason that this kid would get dismissed from the team, right? Correct. Like, now, should he have just walked away from the situation, which I think is what you're saying, Clint? Yeah, just walk away from the situation. Don't put yourself in that position, bro, because like, you're in like Clint said, a spotlight situation. But we're gonna have, like, the investigation's gonna have to commence before. Yes. It's not like we have this kid on radar driving 100 miles an hour, and like, we know what happened in that situation, right? Like, and so the discipline follows. We know what it is, but this is a situation we're just gonna have to wait and see on. But yes, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Yes,
it's ridiculous. And yes, we don't really know yet what happened. And if I'm just going to say this is a little soapbox.
Okay.
If it is proven through investigation,
here we go,
that nothing happened. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, or that I predict that's what's going to happen, or even that I hope that's what's going to happen. I hope the truth comes out, whatever the truth is.
Sure.
But if that happens, here are the things that I promise you, Clint. I promise you, you will not read about it on the front page of ESPN.com like you read Georgia wide receiver arrested for battery. Like on the front page of ESPN. You will not read Georgia wide receiver found not guilty of battery, all charges dropped.
Nope.
You won't see that story on ESPN.com. You also will not see Barrett Sallee, the clown, print any kind of retraction on his absolute trash website that he works for. You will not see any sort of retroactive, oops, I was an ass and accidentally threw somebody under the bus not knowing any of the details that happened to them. So again, this is not me saying this is what's going to happen, but I promise you if that does happen, you won't see any of those things. All you'll see is crickets, and then wait for the next time there's smoke, and then we'll print another story about that, because that's how media works. That's how the internet works, Clint.
That's how the internet works, and it's disgusting as all the way around bad. He is Daniel. I'm Clint. Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We're going to be back tomorrow, giving out locks and then game predictions on Friday as Daniel heads to Athens. We'll see you guys all then.
See ya.